The first rule of deep space exploration, according to the Kari Diplomatic Codex, Section 47, subsection C, was to always announce your peaceful intentions before landing on an inhabited world. The second rule was to bring appropriate gift baskets. Nobody had written a rule for what to do when the planet screamed back. That's not supposed to happen. Commander Urich said, her pale skin flickering with bioluminescent anxiety as veins beneath her flesh pulsed electric blue. She adjusted her neural port, a standard Kari interface that looked disturbingly like a chrome flower blooming from her neck. Acoustic waves don't propagate through vacuum. Back to my bleeding audio receptors, growled Torvich. The Arvok mercenary captain, his slate-gray face, all sharp angles and old scars, twisted into what passed for concern among his people. Whatever seps down there just punched sound through 300 kilometers of nothing. The coalition vessel Harmonious Intent hung in orbit around Con 6, a moon that looked like someone had taken every nightmare in the galaxy and compressed it into a sphere. Even from space, you could see the crimson fungal blooms spreading like blood across continents, the writhing motion of megaforests that never stopped moving, the storm systems that glowed with bioluminescent lightning. Play it again, Lieutenant. May Donovan requested. She was the only human on board. A contractor, not military, hired because someone in the Galactic Coalition thought having a Terran perspective might help with whatever this was. The sound filled the bridge again. It started low, a rumble that made your bones ache, then rose into something between a howl and a war cry. But there was structure to it, patterns that almost sounded like communication. Urich's secondary eyes, the ones Curie used for reading emotional spectra, dilated. Could be a distress signal, she said. May felt something else though, a resonance that bypassed her ears and went straight to her hindbrain. The ship's deck plates seemed to vibrate in harmony with the sound, as if the moon below was reaching up through vacuum to touch them. The distress signal, my armored ass, Torvich spat. That Sep's a hunting call. Heard plenty like it on Gorvich Spes Prime. Right before the swarm mothers ate half my unit. May played it again, slower this time, running it through every filter she had. There was something underneath the roar, something that made her coffee-deprived brain itch with recognition. We said going down, Urich announced. Her voice achieving that special tone of bureaucratic certainty that had led her species to accidentally colonize 3 systems through sheer paperwork. Protocol demands investigation of potential sapient signals. Torvi Set's laugh sounded like gravel in a blender. Your funeral. But my boys get hazard pay. Triple rate. May said nothing. She was still listening to that sound, that strange sound that had crossed the void like physics were just a suggestion. Buried in the lowest frequencies, hidden beneath the primal roar, she could have sworn she heard a word, just one word. Reload. 20 years earlier. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ass end of nowhere. Captain Ryan Royce stood in the dropship's bay, addressing his team with the kind of grim cheer that only career soldiers could manage. 8 of Earth's finest Black Ops specialists. Trained for missions that didn't exist, about to land on a moon that barely qualified as real estate. Karen 6, he continued, gesturing at the view screen, showing their descent. Oxygen levels that'll make you feel like a mainline espresso, gravity that can't decide whether it wants to crush you or let you fly. And according to our science boys, approximately 17,000 species that view humans as grungy and good with ketchup. Corporal Deke Mars checked his rifle for the 5th time, a nervous habit that had saved his life more than once. Why are we here again, Cap? This place makes Detroit look like a resort. Because Ryan said, his smile sharp enough to cut glass. Command wants to know if this hellhole can be weaponized. And we spur the lucky bastards who get to play lab rats. The dropship lurched. Emergency lights painted everything blood red. Oh, that's not supposed to. The pilot began. Then the world exploded. Present day. The coalition landing party found the wreckage 3 clicks from their touchdown site. What was left of it? Anyway. Preliminary analysis indicates a vessel, Urich reported, her scanner working overtime. Age approximately 2 decades. The metallurgy is unusual. Looks like something ate it. One of Toryate's mercs muttered, then spat it back out. May knelt beside a piece of twisted metal, her fingers tracing letters etched by hand into the hull. They were crude, desperate, carved with something sharp. Warcall lives. Human script, she said quietly. Too quietly. That's when they heard it. Not through the comms this time, but through the air itself, thick with hyper-oxygenated atmosphere that made every breath feel like drowning in reverse. The sound started as a whisper of movement in the crimson canopy above. It grew into the crack of branches that shouldn't bend, then became the thunder of something massive approaching at speed. May noticed something else. The fungal growths around them pulsed in rhythm with the approaching sounds. Bioluminescent patterns rippled outward, like the forest itself was announcing their arrival. The ground beneath her boots thrummed with a subsonic hum that felt almost aware. Defensive positions. Torvik barked. Too late. They came from above like falling stars made of meat and rage. 5 figures that moved wrong, too fast for their size, too fluid for anything, wearing what looked like cobbled-together armor made from starship hull and local megapona bones. The first one landed in the middle of the formation, and May's brain tried to process what she was seeing. It was huge. 7 feet of corded muscle wrapped in scars and tactical gear that had been repaired with tendons and teeth. Its face was hidden behind a mask that might have started life as a helmet, but was now a horror of welded metal and breathing tubes. It roared. The sound was physical force, a battering ram of noise that knocked 2 Canari to their knees. Then it spoke. Long neighborhood tourists. The voice was gravel and steel, smoke and thunder. May realized human male, Turyevek, to his credit, recovered. First, he swung his pulse rifle up. The masked figure moved like physics were more guidelines than rules. One hand caught the rifle's barrel, crushing it like paper. The other drove an elbow into Turyevek's chest plate hard enough to spiderweb the armor. Ryan, another figure called out. This one male leaner but no less terrifying. He was reloading what looked like a weapon made from salvaged ship cannons, and the jawbone of something that had way too many teeth. These ones got uniforms. Means they got friends. The masked man, Ryan, cocked his head. The gesture was almost bird-like, predatory. Through the mask's visor, May caught a glimpse of eyes that should have been brown, but flickered with faint bioluminescent sparks, like fireflies trapped in amber. We better make this quick, Deke. May spent the fight pressed against a fungal tree that smelled like copper and bad decisions. Finally, she found her voice. Use stirs. Human. Every weapon swung toward her. Ryan stepped closer, and May could see his eyes through the mask's visor. They were brown, human brown, but with something else behind them, something that had stared into the abyss and decided the abyss looked tasty. Tell me, tourist, or make someone human. The meat, the DNA, or is it the name they put on your grave when they leave you to die? I don't save it, Dee interrupted, chambering another round into his weapon. CapEx villain, 30 local packs moving in, probably smelled the blood. As if on cue, something howled in the distance. It was answered by another howl, then another, building into a symphony of hunger. That's all right, Ryan announced. He looked at the battered coalition forces, then specifically at May. Here's how this works. You run fast, you run hard, and maybe you make it back to your ship. You don't run. He didn't finish. He didn't need to. The war howl pack melted back into the jungle like smoke with teeth, leaving behind confused aliens, one thoughtful human, and a single dog tag that had fallen during the fight. May picked it up with shaking fingers. The metal was worn, scratched, but she could still read the name, Mars D, Corporal, Terran Combat Command, Project Warhowl. Oh fuck, she whispered, the pieces clicking together like a gun being loaded. Oh. What? Yurik limped over, her skin flickering between fear blue and confusion purple. What is it? May looked at the diplomat, at Torvik, nursing what were definitely broken ribs, at the nightmare jungle around them, where human soldiers had survived for 20 years. We need to run, she said. Now, because if Project Warhowl was real and the tag in her hand said it was, then someone on Earth had questions to answer, and May had a feeling those someones were about to do anything to keep those questions from being asked. The emergency meeting aboard the Harmonious Intent had all the energy of a funeral where the corpse kept sitting up to argue. "They savor savages," Commander Urich insisted, her neuroport flickering with indignant data streams. "Whatever they once were, 20 years on that moon has stripped away their, what?" May slammed the dog tag on the conference table. "Their humanity, Commander, except seen the footage. They could have killed everyone. They didn't sept. They broke 6 of my ribs," Torvik growled. "You have 40 ribs. You they'll live." May pulled up her datapad. "I said been digging. Project Warhowl doesn't said exist in any official database, but Ghost Data suggests a Black Ops program that went dark exactly 20 years ago. Deep space combat adaptation. Extreme environmental survival. The works. So Earth abandoned soldiers?" Urik's secondary eyes narrowed. "That violates 17 treaties. 18, her aide corrected. 18 treaties. This is a diplomatic catastrophe waiting to happen." The lights cut out. Emergency power kicked in a heartbeat later, bathing everything in that special shade of red. That meant something had gone wonderfully wrong. "Report." Urik's voice hit frequencies only stressed Cryari could achieve. "Something bests in the vents," security reported. "Moving fast. We can set." The comm went dead. May felt her blood turn to ice water. "They followed us up." "But how?" Torvik said. "The hole is sealed." The vent above him exploded outward. A figure dropped through, smaller than Ryan or Deke, wrapped in what looked like the hide of something that had way too many eyes. It landed on Torvik's shoulders, drove something sharp through his shoulder armor, and was back in the vents before anyone could react. "Torvik, look at the quivering spine stuck in his shoulder. I appear to be lightly stabbed." More explosions. More vents. The Warhowl pack flowed through the ship like water, finding cracks, striking and vanishing, herding the crew toward the cargo bay. They realized they were pushing them toward the cargo bay. So Urich was trying to coordinate security through her neural port, her skin strobing panic colors. "That's where I was storing the recovered artifacts," she said. May's eyes went wide. "Oh no." She ran. The others followed. Because when the only human on your ship starts running, you don't ask why. They burst into the cargo bay to find Deke crouched over an old military field recorder, his salvage armor glinting in the emergency lights. He looked up as they entered, and May could see his face clearly for the first time. Human features marked by scars that told stories nobody wanted to hear. Eyes that belonged on something that hunted professionally. But there was more. Faint networks of bioluminescent veins pulsed beneath his skin, like Urich's, but organic, evolved. Wrong in all the wrong ways. "Huh?" he said. "Still works." May found her voice. "How did you even get aboard?" "The hull is sealed." "Your hull's got maintenance ports," Deke said casually. "Big enough for a motivated human who spent 20 years learning to fold themselves into uncomfortable places. We latched on during your atmospheric exit. Void swimmers can survive short vacuum hops, and so can we. Cut through your outer sensors like tissue paper. Your security team really needs to think three-dimensional." He hit play on the recorder. Video log, 20 years earlier. The recording was grainy, damaged, but clear enough. A younger Ryan filled the frame, his face whole, his eyes still carrying that bright edge of military discipline. "Day 15, he said to the camera. "Dropship SIP's comms are. Paris died from the fungal infection. Turns out the local flora doesn't play nice with human lymph nodes. We got maybe a week of rations left." He paused, looked off camera. Other voices were muffled, but urgent. "Day thinks we can eat some of the local wildlife if we cook it right. Parker says the fungus might be processable if we..." An explosion in the background. Screaming. The camera fell, showing sideways footage of something with too many legs tearing through their camp. When it stabilized, Ryan was covered in green blood, breathing hard. Day 15. Addendum. Scratch that. A week of rations. Also, Parker Sip's gone. But hey, we learned the local wildlife bleeds. That sets something. The feed crackled. Jump to another date. Day 90. A haggard Deke appeared on the screen, fungal spores visible in his hair like deadly snow. It's not just in our heads anymore. The storm seemed to react. I got pissed yesterday. Really pissed. And lightning struck the exact tree a predator was using to stalk me. Ryan says I am imagining things, but the forest, where feels like it sets listening, like it sets learning us as much as we sets were learning it. Day 100. The video feed jumped again, and this time it was Ryan, leaner, harder, his armor already showing signs of improvised repairs. Day 100. Personal log. Captain Ryan Royce. Terran Combat Command. If anyone finds this. He laughed bitterly. Who am I kidding? Nobody's looking. Project Command wrote us off the moment we went dark, probably listed us as equipment lost in some budget report. He held up a piece of salvaged comm equipment. Got this working for about 30 seconds yesterday. Long enough to hear civilian channels. Earth SEP's still there, still spinning, still not giving a __ about 8 soldiers. The equipment sparked and died. 7 soldiers, he corrected quietly. Martinez didn't make it through the night. The howling got him, not the predators. The planet itself. This place gets in your head, makes you choose, adapt, or die. Evolve or become fertilizer. He looked directly at the camera. So, we set her choosing whatever it takes. However far we have to go, we set her not dying here. And when we get off this rock, he paused. His voice went quiet. Dangerous. Not if. Someone set's going to answer for this. A pause. They threw us away like dogs. They didn't want to feed us anymore. Well, guess what? The dogs survived. And we remember who held the leash. Present. But you didn't get off, Sikrik said. Her diplomatic training finally reasserting itself. You still here. Are we? Ryan smiled. And it was all teeth. Lady, we own this moon now. We rolled out the howling, tamed the megapona, turned this whole death trap into our personal kingdom. Why would we leave? Because you stir human, May said quietly. And humans don't abandon their own, she added. The cargo bay went silent, except for the hum of emergency power. Funny thing about that, Deke said, checking his weapon one last time. Turns out we weren't the only thing your government abandoned out here. Found 3 more crash sites over the years. Colony ships, research stations, all written off, all left to die. We saved who we could, Ryan added. Taught them to howl. Taught them to hunt. Built all of them a nice little civilization of the abandoned. So tell me, diplomat, who exactly are our own? May's datapad chimed. A new message. Priority 1. Encryption that screamed government black site. She read it again, and felt her world tilt. You bastards, she breathed. What? Uric demanded. May showed them the screen. Official Terran Defense Command letterhead. Orders to quarantine. Quarantine 6. Eliminate all witnesses. Project Warhows never existed. ETA on the sterilization fleet? May said, her voice hollow. 48 hours. Deke and Ryan exchanged looks. Well, Deke said. That SEP's new. No, Ryan corrected. Something dark and eager creeping into his voice. That SEP's perfect. You want to what? Commander Rourke's voice hit pitches that could shatter crystal. You heard me. Ryan spread a tactical map across the conference table. If you could call a megapona hide marked with blood and battle plans a map, we expect them to be here by Earth's finest cover-up squad. Our own bosses. The bastards who left us to die are coming to finish the job. And they'll burn your ship too, just to keep things tidy. The Galactic Coalition does not engage in military action without proper authorization from your coalition sets. About to be vapor, Deke interrupted, field stripping his weapon without looking. Earth SEP's Black Fleet doesn't stow witnesses. You set all loose ends now. Torvik, shoulder wrapped and pride bruised, leaned forward. Say we believe you. Say this fleet exists. What can 7 feral humans do against warships? Ryan Sek's grin was a thing of terrible beauty. 7? Oh, you poor dumb bastard. You think we stood all that sex left? He howled. The sound shouldn't have carried through the ship's hull, shouldn't have reached across vacuum to the moon below, shouldn't have done a lot of things, but it did. And Con 6 howled back. The view screen lit up with contacts, not ships, but biological signatures launching from the moon's surface. Dozens of them, riding things that looked like someone had crossbred a manta ray with a nightmare and taught it to fly in space. Every human on that rock, Dee explained conversationally, learned the same lesson we did: adapt or die. Turns out, Ryan added, when you feed humans the processed organs of psychic megapona for 2 decades, they develop some interesting party tricks. Like punching sound through vacuum, May asked. Like bonding with void swimmers. Ryan tapped the screen. Beautiful creatures. They eat cosmic radiation and tactical advantages. Also, they think humans taste funny, so they adopted us instead. This is insane, Yurik whispered. Now you can sit there and wait for Earth to vaporize you, Ryan corrected. Or you can help us remind them why abandoning humans is a bad idea. The choice is yours. Farvet stood, his warrior culture overriding his better judgment. What do you need? Guns, Deke said immediately. The kind that make big holes in bigger things. Medical supplies, another war member added, dropping from a vent because apparently doors were for people who hadn't yet spent 20 years going feral. Some of the packs are riding wounded. And broadcast equipment, Ryan finished. The kind that can punch through military encryption. Why? May asked. Because, Ryan Sepp's eyes went dark with promise. When we hit them, I want Earth to hear every second of it. 36 hours later. Space combat, as any military theorist would tell you, was a matter of calculations, vectors, and velocities, energy management, and heat dispersion. Clean, clinical, predictable. Nobody told war. Contact in T-10, the sensor operator reported. The Earth fleet had arrived exactly on schedule. 6 stealth destroyers built for one thing, making problems disappear. Oral Pack is in position, Torvik reported, still not quite believing he was coordinating with feral humans riding space monsters. I still think this is suicide. Everything's suicide if you do it wrong. Ryan's voice crackled over comms. He was out there in nothing but a modified EVA suit and 20 years of spite, riding a void swimmer the size of a shuttle. Take you in position. Brought to you that cap. Got a clean shot at the command ship. Just say when. May watched the tactical display, her mouth dry. How are you even breathing out there? Fun fact about hyperoxygenated blood, Ryan explained. It holds its charge for about an hour in vacuum. Earth seps like hell, but Bane seps just weakness leaving the body. Right, Parker? A Parker set's dead, Dee reminded him. Right. Well, Bane seps just Parker leaving the body then. The Earth fleet dropped out of FTL in perfect formation. Textbook approach by the numbers. Message incoming, Yurik reported. They Septure ordering us to prepare for boarding. No, Ryan said. Space went mad. The void swimmers moved, not through space but around it, folding distance like origami made of physics violations. The Warhowl Pack hit the Earth fleet from angles that shouldn't exist. Humans in improvised armor, maglock to holes, and going to work with fusion cutters and 20 years of grudges. Impossible. The Earth Commander Sepp's voice cut through the static. There's Sepp's nothing out here but Corporal Deke Mars, Terran Combat Command. Deke, announced his voice carrying on every frequency. Project Warhowl, day 7,000 and something. Still breathing, still fighting, and Buddy still really pissed. His salvage cannon spoke. A destroyer's engine core answered by becoming a brief new sun. The battle, if you could call 20 minutes of physics-defying carnage a battle, ended with 3 destroyers in pieces, 2 more crippled, and the command ship frantically trying to jump away while something that looked like Ryan's pet nightmare chewed on their FTL drive. "Surrender," the Earth commander broadcasted. "We surrender. This is Admiral Haynes. Authorization code." "I know who you are," Ryan's voice cut through. He was on their bridge now. The security footage showed him standing over cowering officers. Green blood from the void swimmer's feeding dripping from his armor. "You signed our deployment orders. Minimal risk, you said, standard recon. You said I was following orders. So were we." He grabbed him by the throat, lifted him, one-handed. The hyperoxygenated atmosphere had done interesting things to human muscle density. Differences. We got better at it. May's fingers flew over her console. Every bit of footage, every communication, every scrap of data was being packaged and broadcast on wideband. The galaxy was about to get one hell of a show. "Stop!" Admiral Haynes gasped. "You're still Terran citizens," Haynes stammered. "We can negotiate." "Negotiate?" Deke appeared in frame, casual as Sunday morning despite the blood on his salvage armor. "Cap, he wants to negotiate." Ryan dropped the Admiral, who hit the deck gasping. "Okay, let's negotiate. You want to know our terms?" He looked directly at the camera, knowing May was broadcasting this across the galaxy. "Every human you abandoned, every colony you wrote off, every acceptable loss in your black books, you said are going to find them. You said are going to extract them, and you said are going to answer to them. There are dozens of sites. The resources alone, not my problem." Ryan turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and Admiral, next time you want to abandon humans on a death world," he grinned, "make sure they stay dead." Final act. The Warhowl lives. 1 year later. The memorial on Earth was supposed to be solemn, dignified, a formal acknowledgement of the regrettable Warhowl incident and the tragic misunderstandings that led to it. Nobody told Deke. "Is that a void swimmer?" Someone screamed as the creature materialized above the ceremony. Its strange biology made security's weapons utterly academic. "Relax," Deke called down, dressed in what might charitably be called formal wear, if you squinted, and had very low standards. "Just here for the party. Heard there's set to be drinks." He landed next to May, who was trying very hard not to laugh at the expression on the new Earth president's face. "You weren't set invited," the president snapped. "Story of my life." Deke grinned, producing a flask from somewhere and taking a swig. "How's the rescue operation going?" 17 colonies recovered so far. Another 32 identified, May replied, accepting the flask and finding it carried something that tasted like battery acid and bad decisions. "The coalition CEST established a whole department for it. Ulrich is in heaven. She CEST has generated enough paperwork to build a small moon." Speaking of moons, Deke nodded at the memorial statue, a sanitized version of Warhowl that bore no resemblance to reality. "Ryan sends his regards. Also, he says if they don't fix his jaw on that statue, he set's coming to fix it personally." "Is that a threat?" "More of a promise. You know how he is about accuracy." They stood in comfortable silence, watching Earth's elite pretend they hadn't just tried to genocide their own species. "What's next for Warhowl?" May asked. "Same as always." Deke's grin was sharp as vacuum. "Con 6 is ours. And now we're thinking bigger. Turns out there's a lot of death worlds out there. Lots of places the galaxy wrote off as impossible. And impossible is just another word for challenge accepted. We're going exploring, finding new homes for the abandoned, teaching them to howl." He paused. "Parker thinks we can establish a whole network, death world to death world, connected by void swimmers and human stubbornness." His expression softened just for a moment. Earth kicked a lot of dogs over the years, left them to starve or go feral. Well, now we stir building a new pack, a bigger one, and this time we choose who holds the leash. The coalition one set like that. The coalition can file a complaint. Deke mounted his void swimmer. The creature CEP's biology made several nearby physicists cry. Besides, They need us now. Who else is going to explore the places too dangerous for sane people? He started to leave, then turned back. Oh, May, next time you sit in the neighborhood, stop by. Parker Sepp's been working on this new fungal brew that said'll either give you psychic powers or kill you. Sometimes both. That Sepp's not a selling point, D. It is on Con 6. The void swimmer folded space and vanished, leaving behind only the smell of ozone and the sound of distant howling. May looked at the memorial statue one more time. They'd gotten everything wrong. The poses, the equipment, the expressions made them look like heroes from a recruitment poster instead of humans who'd been pushed past breaking and decided to break back. But maybe that was fitting. Let Earth have its comfortable lie. And out there, in the black between the stars, the real warhowl lived on death worlds and moons, in the hearts of the abandoned who'd learned to bite back, and in the howl that echoed across vacuum because physics was just another rule to break. Somewhere in the void, a human was teaching a void swimmer to sing. Somewhere else, Parker was probably violating several laws of nature, and on Conan 6, in a base built from salvaged ships and alien bones, Captain Ryan Royce stood watch, scarred, unbroken, utterly, impossibly, perfectly human. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. You could abandon humans. You could maroon them. You could leave them for dead on worlds that ate light and shat nightmares. But you couldn't break them, because humans didn't just adapt, they thrived. And somewhere in the dark, carried on frequencies that shouldn't exist, the howl continued. A war cry, a promise, a countdown. The pack was growing, and Warhowl was just the beginning.